Did you really start running at 82 and you'd never run before in your life?
That is right. Well, not totally true. I do remember as a young mum having a go at trying to run. It was if I couldn't run impressively for whatever length of time, it meant I was a total failure. So that was the end of that.
Why now? Why did you, what made you to start running?
Well, I have been friends with Judith. She's been an active runner for virtually all her adult life, and she runs marathons and what have you. For years, she's tried to talk me into running, and I've always gone, never, never. I was exercising quite well, and that I wasn't committing a terminal sentence on myself by turning Judith's pressure down all the time. But then she got cancer and had to have a significant operation, which took her out of running. And so she started her couch to K routine once she was well enough, and that kind of lodged in the brain somehow. And I'm not sure exactly how it led to me then doing a bit of research about couch to 5K programs. So I started off following a bit of a pattern of one of the couch to 5K things that I found online, starting off at running for 15 seconds, 15 and 2 minutes rest. In the it was going to go ahead in steps that I knew were too big for me. So I kept researching and then fell upon your program. And I thought, this is the one for me. And so it has proved.
What was it about None to Run that resonated with you?
That combination of little bits of running and bigger bits of walking, gradually morphing into bigger bits of running and little bits of walking. I really liked the way the app worked on my phone and on my watch. It was really informative to be right with me as I was doing my workouts. I liked the way that there were regular updates through the app, like the halfway there, just nice, low key. This is where you're at.
Were you nervous about starting?
Yes, but obviously not enough to stop me. I really enjoyed running to time as well. It wasn't a question of distance, it wasn't a question of speed, it's just time. And that was absolutely crucial.
What about that concept of running for time? Like, what did that do for you mentally? Like, did it give you permission to
Run slowly.
run slowly?
I really enjoyed monitoring my own self-talk. Being a counsellor, of course, I'm all about self-talk. So it was very useful to be able to hear myself working my way through my doubts and my uncertainty and my anxiety. I know each time I was on to increasing the time of running, I'd have that dialogue in my head, but it was always, well, let's give it a go. And if I need to stop before the app tells me to stop, I'll just have another go next time. So
Okay.
I have to say, when I started out, I always ran really, really early in the morning, hoping I wouldn't see anyone or no one would see me. But as the weeks went on, that stopped being a problem. Then the next problem, of course, was I'm running slowly. That person walking down the street, they're just walking. Am I going to pass them or are they going to pass me? So most times I passed them, but there was an incident when a walker passed me and I had to deal with my internal self-talk over that. So that was hilarious.
You've graduated. Did you do all 12 weeks?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Faultlessly.
Congratulations.
Faultlessly.
Did
I
you
did it
have any hiccups? Any hiccups along the way? Repeat any week? No. Wow.
boringly. Perfect score.
10 out of 10. That's amazing. Did you have any niggles? Like,
No,
that's amazing. What did it feel like when you did like the last run of week 12? Did you celebrate?
for a long time, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I didn't even tell my running friend Judith because I knew she would be ecstatic and then I would feel pressure to have to keep going and then I'd get into mental tangles in my own head. So So I started off telling people I'm relatively close to and watch their face. I also regularly visit an osteopath for just tune-ups. So I think she was the first person I told, and it was lovely watching her face, then hearing that she now quotes me to other people as she had a 50-year-old man who said he was too old for running. So guess whose story she told. And I also told my massage therapist that she's been interested and encouraging in the whole journey. I told my GP when I happened to have a regular visit, and he was less gratified, but it was good to have it on record. So if I did have a sudden heart attack, they might have an understanding of why. But it took me ages to tell my family. So it must have been about week 12, I think, that was part of my celebration. That's when I came out as a runner.
Your coming party. People have asked me this question before. People, for instance, in San Francisco, super hilly, probably like Wellington.
Yes.
What would happen on a run? Maybe you had runs that were flatter, but if you came across a hill and you're in a running segment, would you change your approach or what would you do?
Well, I'm lucky enough that once I've done my uphill warm up, then it leads me into a more gradual downhill run, which doesn't feel like running at all when you're going downhill. But then that leads me to my local very flat park. And so initially I was just doing circuits of that on the grass. This is before I invested in running shoes. I wanted to be sure that I was being cautious about the surfaces I was running on, level surfaces and grassy surfaces. So that was really easy on the dead flat, going
Right.
round and round and round and round. But now it's too boring to go 4 kilometres around the grass field. So I'm now running on the streets, and there I'm choosing the route that has the most gradual inclines and declines, and some level bits. So yes.
Amazing. And you're on Strava. So what made you want to go on Strava? Were your friends on there or
Our friend Judith is on Strava. So I knew when I came out to her that I'd be, it would be of use to me to check in with her and get her positive feedback. And also, I can do the same in exchange for her, give her positive feedback when she gets to her milestones.
That's great. Yeah, no, I was talking to someone the other day and Strava is like people identify Strava as like, okay, you're like a real like endurance athlete and, marathon runners and cyclists, but like it's really nice to hear there's other people on there they just want to cheer on their friend. What changes have you noticed with your sort of health and normal day-to-day life and when you're running, like what what feels different, what feels better?
Well, I'm definitely stronger. I know when I'm walking up hills upstairs. I belong to a walking group that walks around the hills of Zealandia. Zealandia is built on some of the steepest hills in Wellington. And there's a group of about maybe 12 of us, all of a similar age. So it's a great indicator of fitness. And while I was always one of the fitter ones of the bunch, I'm now even more fit. And I notice I'm much less, don't feel as exercised at the end of the 6K walks up and down the hills there. Yes, so greater strength. I think I'm probably sleeping a bit more soundly, according to my Apple Watch, longer periods of deep sleep. The whole concept of being able to talk when you're running, I always thought that was ridiculous. Of course, you can't talk when you're running, but I have never had any issues with that and none to run. Um,
Love it.
I've been monitoring my speed and thinking I'm still a slow runner. On the 5K app, it talks about running at a moderate speed, but for me, my moderate speed is still very slow. Like my 4K run yesterday was 11:3 or something per K. And if I try and speed up, I feel like I'm going to disintegrate. So that's something I presume if I continue at it, as I probably will, there'll be gradual changes. But I assume because of my age, it takes longer to build up whatever muscle mass is possible to build up at this age. So I'm quite prepared to be patient with myself there.
Yeah, it'll take some time. I mean, for most people too, what I tell them is your cardiovascular fitness usually increases faster than your muscles, ligaments, and tendons, and so forth. So it happens a lot that people will start off with the program and feel good, and then they want to up the distance or run it consecutive days because oh, I'm breathing better. This feels easier, but you actually have to hold yourself back because it does take a while for those connective
Yeah,
to adapt.
I'm really aware of seeing the value of the rest days. My younger me would have thought that was chickening out. The more you do, the fitter you get, kind of thing.
Right.
I can I noticed there was a routine of feeling really exhausted on my rest days, and I'd be thinking, "Oh, I wonder if I can face up to the thought of the next day's run." Wake up next morning, and of course I'm going to run.
Love it.
So, yeah, I really see the value of the rest days.
You maybe already said, but are you doing any strength and mobility work on the
Whatever's on
side?
the program,
Whatever was on the program you were doing?
I can even do push-ups.
You're wow. Was there any exercises you were doing modifications on, or were you doing all of them?
No?
Changes from doing that? Like you said, you mentioned you feel stronger walking up hills and so forth. Do you any other like
Yeah.
ways that increase strength and mobility showing up in your life that you've noticed? Or
I do a lot of gardening. That's quite heavy gardening, lugging 20 kg bags of compost and stuff, digging out tree roots and what have you. So I'm aware of feeling that much stronger doing that. Mowing the lawns.
right.
Yeah.
What would your advice to people now? Like I'm sure you're getting people, your doctor and so forth saying, hey, what would you tell other people who want to start running later in life? What advice would you give to them?
Get the nun to run it.
Why?
Well, it worked absolutely amazingly for me, and I think it's a very well designed app.
What would your advice to people now? Like I'm sure you're getting people, your doctor and so forth saying, hey, what would you tell other people who want to start running later in life?
Yeah, well, the self-talk is absolutely crucial, but I'm not sure from my professional experience, people often take a long time to realize how horrible they're being to themselves. And so to say, have a positive attitude is all very well. But the danger is if people only give voice to the positive stuff. This is something about my friend Judith. She is too much into the positive stuff and she doesn't allow herself to have a respectful dialogue between the encouraging and the anxious self. And in my experience, it's only when you fully acknowledge the anxious side that any attempts from the reassuring side can actually be believed by the anxious side.
Love that.
I suppose my only question is one that's not really answerable is how far can I go? Like my friend wants me to sign up for 10K runs in a year's time, and I'm watching how I go to see whether or not that's something I want to, as a goal I want to set myself. I'm already thinking I'll probably be willing to sign up for next year's annual K. Every February, thousands of people sign up to go running around the bays, which is a lovely level course. And so the roads are closed, and all these people sweat their way for 5Ks, or there's a 10K route and a half marathon route as well. So previously, I thought, nah, not me. But I can see that maybe next year I will look at doing that.
I think it's reasonable. I mean, you could also, no shame. A lot of people do it. They go through the program and they're like, you know what? I really enjoyed run walk. I don't need to continuously run. So you could maybe consider like a run walk strategy, like a ratio, or keep at it. Whatever, like you find it. I mean, the biggest thing is staying consistent and enjoying it. Like you want to enjoy it, otherwise you're not going to do it. So whatever sort of way works best for you, whether it's continuously running, run, walk. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do it. Staying consistent is the main thing.
Yes, oh well, it's a voyage of discovery anyway. But I suppose the most important consequence I'm aware of is once you get to about 70, there's this chatter in your head about getting old and life is coming to an end, and you have to accept that you can't do all the things that you used to be able to do. You've got to be prepared for illness, people dying around you. I mean, numbers of my friends are dying around me, and it's just so easy to fall into that downhill slope and feel it's inevitable. But for me, the biggest value out of all of this is I can't be specific about it, but I'm just feeling so much younger. I've always looked younger than I am. And now it's like I carry around in me this not quite guilty secret. I'm 83. You'd never guess. So I'm not sure how long that will continue. That has to happen, that my abilities decrease. But at the moment, my abilities are increasing, certainly making the most of it. I
Okay.
suspect it's making me more focused in my work too. I'm when I think about it, I think my attention span and my response process is somewhat sharper than it has been.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, it's been so nice to connect with you.
And thank you for giving me an opportunity to boast. I can boast about being, as far as you know, your oldest graduate.
You've got the badge. Not only that, like, I mean, most people repeat weeks, and I encourage people to repeat weeks and often, modifications on the strength and mobility. And like, yeah, the fact that you felt good and everything, yeah, so nice, so awesome. I love it.